Tell me. Okay, so you just came in last night. I know you've been running around like crazy because you've been just wheeling and dealing, meeting and greeting people. So how have you been?
I've been really well, Omar, man. It's just surreal when you're able to surround yourself with people that are genuinely looking to yourself to bring financial freedom to people's lives. And so I've been fortunate enough to be around some really good circles that are. I feel like I'm being educated, and I've been in the financial space for 15 years now. And whenever that's happening, you're in the right circle and you're around the right people. So it feels really good. It's good to be back here in Austin.
Yeah, I know the weather. I wonder what the weather was like where you came from because yesterday was sunny. Now it's kind of gloomy, and I think in the 60s, so it's getting chillier.
Well, actually, yesterday I was in Dallas, and so it was very similar to how it is here. I was in meetings all day, so I didn't get a chance to really see how the weather was outside. But on the way
Mm.
home, it gave me a chance to talk to my wife, connect. When you're moving so fast, sometimes you know, just kind of checking in with your loved ones and kind of having that time where you're not work, work, work all the time. So that's what I appreciated being in Dallas traffic on the way back to Austin. You know how that is.
Oh
That
yeah,
Dallas traffic, 6 o'clock to 7, stop
yeah.
and go, mainly stop.
So I feel like you're in this really cool, special place where you've built up all this momentum over the years, right? And now you're in this place where you're surrounded by people that it sounds like to me are a little ahead of you, which is a good thing, right? Because now you're in a now you have access to those circles of people and those conversations, and that's just gonna and it's super exciting because it revolves around the real estate world. Am I correct?
Absolutely. I'm learning at 43 that you know, it's all about who you hang around and who you surround yourself with. And I say 43, but I've been coming to that realization over the last, I would say, 10 years, where just being conscious and intentional about surrounding yourself with people that you want to be, that you maybe want to be like, emulate, or maybe they're higher, in the totem pole in terms of the career or the work or however it may be. Like for me, being self-employed, people in the venture capital space, people that are realtors like yourself, mortgage professionals, private money professionals, hard money professionals. You're in the room with those people as much as possible because they're typically talking about deals. And one of my mentors told me, "Be careful what you how you word the word deals, because really, it's really understanding the synergies that may align with the people that you're with." And making sure that your initiatives are in alignment with their initiatives. Because once you figure that out, you can create opportunity, which opportunity leads to a deal, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really identifying what you're doing and who you're working with, and it usually depends on who you're hanging around with.
Wow. So, as you were saying that, I'm thinking because I sometimes have clients that their attitude and just outlook is very doom and gloom because of the people they surround themselves with, the information that they're receiving from whatever source they may be. It's typically usually the news, which is never, you have to take all that with a grain of salt. So, the big point I'm trying to make is that even though the main talk is that we're in this silent recession, everyone's hurting because of the cost of living. And that's true to one respect, but to another respect, you're coming from a place where, like, hey, I'm going to be thriving in this market, not just surviving because of the people you're surrounding yourself with, the relationships you're building, and just the I guess the knowledge of where you get that from. It's just a big
Oh,
difference. That's all.
absolutely. No, absolutely. And I feel like when you, it's all about creating your. I put it like this. I was in Maui one time, where we ran an escape room with me and my wife, and I met a gentleman, and he told me something that was very profound. He was a real estate investor. He was out of the San Francisco area, and I could just tell he was affluent. Just how he carried himself. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and I asked him, kind of, about his story, and he told me that he comes to Maui once a month for 12 months out of the year. And and I was like, whoa, how are you able to do that? And he told me that he designed his life to do that. And it's all about designing your life how you want your life to be. And so you can reverse engineer it. If you want to go to Maui once a month for 12 months out of the year and you're in real estate, you have to start thinking about vision of how many deals a month or a year do you have to get, and I use the word deals again, but like, how many opportunities do you have to create for yourself to have generational wealth or have income coming in enough to where if you choose, and if it's a choice for you to go to Maui once a month for 12 months out of the year, you design your life to be able to do
Mhm.
that. And I feel like the more that we're able to, you know, like with your podcast, that we're able to talk about financial freedom and financial wealth and generational wealth and wealth synergy. Wealth synergy is a company that myself and my buddy CJ Thomas that played with me in the Dodgers, we're creating a wealth synergy, which it's just crazy how you're around money and you're around people, and then the synergy that comes with that and that alignment is definitely something that I feel if you can create for yourself, you'll be able to design your life in that order.
Mm, mm. So after I graduated college, I took a gap year and I backpacked throughout Southeast Asia. Very life changing year for me. And kind of circling back to your story, in that moment, I was like, I need to create a life where I can come back to this place a few months out of the year and not have to worry about anything financially, because this is how it brings me such joy and happiness to be in that part of the world, and just the people, the culture, just everything about it. And I've been on that mission ever since. And I know with what we're doing, every day I'm getting one step closer.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Omar, you you hit it on the head. The world or traveling places that get you out of your comfort zone. It allows you to kind of like reflect on your life and really think about what you want. And really, I feel like for people, understanding number one who you are, and then the next thing is what you want in life. And so you being able to go to Southeast Asia and having that kind of like that spiritual awakening of like, this is how I want my life to be designed, and this is what I want. And then it becomes like a situation where from there you can put an action plan together, and any type of action plan that you have your goals that align with action steps. That's the key, like knowing how to do it as it pertains to what you want, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so then you create like a roadmap to success, because then the people, like we mentioned already, the people that you align yourself with leads to how you come up with a plan and what you want. And then the information that you get through travel or through experience, because life is about experiences of traveling, meeting new people, being with family. These are things that don't have anything to do with money. They're free, right? And something that's free, but I think Kanye said it. Money isn't everything, but not having it is. So there is money
Mm-hmm.
involved, but it's what is the root of the freedom that you receive from just really taking a step back and you know taking a self assessment test of this is me, this is what I want, and then putting that roadmap to success to be able to achieve financial wealth.
Wilson, I think that's a good segue to shift gears a little bit to put on your credit repair hat, because I have a few questions lined up for you that I think are really, really good, that will give people a plan, or let's talk a little bit of tactics of what we can do. If you're looking at 2024 as your year, then chances are many of us over the past few years, your credit probably isn't in the best shape because of all the things happening in the world, inflation, cost of living. Just to get by, it's hard. But after speaking with Thomari, this is his business and he's here to help. And let's start with the first question.
When it comes to credit repair, professional services, or doing it yourself, really it comes back to information. And so I think strategy wise, if you are going to do it yourself, there's so much information on YouTube and credit repair, and just there's a lot of research you can do, because ultimately we're talking about consumer law and how and what the law how it's designed to protect yourself. And really, consumer law is literally a law to protect consumers. And so understanding um, the law itself, if you're going to do it yourself, it really, the first step I would advise is to do your research. Now, the benefit of going through a professional credit repair service like Credit Pulse is that we've done our research. It's like chain restaurants, right? Why start a business on your own? Or if you can go through a chain like a Starbucks or like a Subway, then they've already figured it out. They've already gone through the headaches of starting a business and running a business, and they've they've figured out all the nuances that make it to where you're more effective and you get results at the end of the day, because that's really what we want. If we're talking about credit repair, there's some kind of problem that needs to be solved that ultimately leads to a result that's favorable for you. And so that's the benefits of going through a credit repair company. But then you have to ask yourself, let me research this company. Do they have a proven track record? Do they what? And again, do they have empathy? One of our core values is empathy. When we hear our clients' stories, we really want to understand what they've gone through, where they want to go, and really sit down with real people talking about real issues that affect their family. And so that's how we're different, because before we can even help them, we need to empathize with their situation and what they've gone through. And then from there, and we offer a free consultation. So we're not asking for money to help people as far as putting the plan together. Now, obviously, we run a business, and to keep the lights on, obviously, we have to make a profit, right? And so, if the client elects to move forward, then there is a fee, unless they're a veteran or that we have an initiative to help. But ultimately, it's I feel like you know having that empathy is important, and then from there, the information. So education is another core value that we have, and that's what we provide our clients. Because the education side of what we're talking about is really understanding and having empathy, and then it's like, okay, now let's put a plan together. But before you can put a plan together, you have to know where you are today, And so that's kind of like, just to give you a snapshot of our process. In our free consultation is really understanding the client situation and then educating them moving forward. And so that's a big difference. And actually, you can apply it the same way. If you're doing it yourself, it comes down to education. You know, and then if you're going through a credit repair company, it's the education. But before that, just really understanding what company that you're working with, what are their core values, what are their initiatives into helping their clients.
I feel for any service based business, when it comes to, there's different subsets of people, right? You're either a person that has time on your side, but not a lot of money, or you're the person that has money with not a lot of time on your side, right? So when it comes to any professional service, if you like credit repair or hiring a real estate agent to help you with the process of buying a home, and you have the money, then that's where we save you time, because you hire professionals that have gone through the trial and error process, right? They know the ins and outs of how to get to that objective, your goals, on a lot tighter time frame, and that's kind of what you're paying for, right? You're paying to do it quickly. But there's also folks, because I've been there before, that don't have a lot of money. So you have time, and you're going to be scouring the internet, YouTubing it, looking, following people, watching people like us that are trying to get knowledge for free, which is okay. I think that's the beautiful thing about the internet. That's where it's heading, right? You want to give a lot of value up front first, so people can kind of get something, get a quick win. I'm all about getting these quick wins, because that kind of helps you kind of progress along whatever you're trying to do. So if you're watching this for the first time, just know that we're going to be putting on these videos like this, trying to help with credit repair, because we know just how important it is to even get started. And maybe down the line, if we've given you enough value, you give us an opportunity to do that free consult, right? Because in my business, I'm all about the free consultation, because difference, it's a kind of case by case thing on how we can help you, because everyone's coming from just different knowledge, um, different biases that they have to kind of overcome, right? And at the end of the day, I think, and you said it, and I feel the same way. Having that empathy, that ear, just to listen, because I think deep down, nobody wants to have bad credit. Deep down, everybody wants to own a home. It's just hard, right? It's hard to do those things because there's a lot of things you have to overcome, and having the right team that get that see that through that lens, I think it's crucial to like actually moving forward, and making this an actual what do you call it, like just making it come true.
When you mentioned time, it's funny you say that, Omar. Yesterday, I was talking to one of my associates, and we were thinking about that movie Fallen, where time is on my side. Yes, it is. Time is on my right. So really, time is on your side, and you do have to. When it comes to time, I feel like really what is the cost between time and cost? What is the cost if you don't go through with either DIY or professional credit repair? What does that cost you in terms of time? What does that cost you in terms of money? What does that cost you in terms of resources? What does that cost you in terms of like educating yourself so you can provide that information for not only yourself, but maybe other family members or people that are close to you? When it comes to the time and being on your side, I mean, we don't know how much time we have, but what we do know is the information that's in front of us, and then the companies that can help us, and the resources that are out there. There's plenty of that. So it's really just understanding like how can you gain access. That's what we're really talking about. How can you gain access so you create more time for your family? You create more time for the people that you care about. You create more time for vacations where you can go and go on a cruise and bring your whole family and literally sit back and watch them have fun. And that, for me, that's what brings joy my life to know that I can provide that for my family. And it creates more time so we can really enjoy life together. And so I think that's really what we're talking about as it pertains to time and money, and really that's important. I mean, and at least it is for me, and I know it is for you. We've had these talks, and that's why we're putting this platform out there so we can create more time for others so they can determine what they want, and then we can help them get to the finish line.
Well said. And one last thing I want to say, because the key word when I look at this question is effectiveness, right? And I feel like the do it yourself, there are effective platforms and strategies. I know most banks now, they have like a credit score little calculator indicator, right? And those work, but it's just taking the time to learn it and understand the nuances and understanding the strategies of how to help fix your credit score. That's where I would say a professional credit repair service is even more effective because they already understand all that, right? So again, you have to ask yourself, if you have plenty of time on your hands, I don't see myself getting a home for the next couple years, then watching stuff like this that we're putting out is where you want to be at, because now you have the luxury of time to learn and learn at your pace. But if you're someone that's like you're tired of renting, or you're tired of living in that neighborhood that you're in, and you need that change because you know just how, maybe you just want to move closer to family, right? So time is not on your side, and but your credit's bad, right? And you need the help, and that's what these credit repair services offer. And Thomari is one of the best that I know in the business, not only because he understands how the flow of it, he understands the business side of it, but because if you listen to him, and I hear it, his empathy and his just, it's not just about a transaction for him. It's about creating a relationship, creating a community, because ultimately he wants his clients to win. Because that's when he wins. And I feel the same way. When you win, we win. But you win first. You win first. That's what we're trying to say.
100%, Omar. I can't agree with you more, and I appreciate your kind words. I'm humbled. Appreciate you.
Oh, you got
Um,
it. You got it. No doubt. I wouldn't say it just to say it. I feel it.
Common tactics that people should avoid when doing credit repair themselves is like kind of like what we talked about before, is like do your research. So don't start something without knowing the ins and outs. So we've kind of touched on that a little bit in the last segment. But kind of pulling the layers back a little bit more on that is number one, I would recommend getting a monitoring service of some kind, because like if you're going to look into doing credit repair on your own, you got to know where you're at as far as your report's concerned. And so, you know, Credit Karma, even if we talked about it on another episode, even if it's a Credit Karma situation, know that you got to see what's on there to know what to dispute. And it goes back to the consumer law side of things that we talked about earlier. And with consumer law, understanding the law and then looking at your credit report, then you can make that correlation. So, but if you don't, then that's a really big mistake that I would say that it's like the first mistake you can make, because it's like representing yourself in the court of law, but not even knowing why you're there. It
Mm.
kind of like puts you in a bad situation. You know what I mean? Number one, you represent yourself, and then you don't even know what to tell the judge. You don't know, like, the law that protects you from how they even arrested you. And so then all of a sudden, you know, you're in credit court. You know what I mean? Like, if
Mhm.
you start off this way, so just really knowing that information is going to be very helpful, because let's be honest, credit repair is very time consuming. We talked about time a lot on this segment, and being able to have that time, have that follow up, because when you dispute, it's 30 days by law that the credit bureaus have to answer your disputes. So if you dispute today, by this date next month, you should have in the mail responses, and those responses are going to be results to your disputes. It's either going to say delete it. That's when we're like, we got it. It's off my report, or it's going to say update it, where they're going to take the information from your disputes and say, oh, we're going to keep it on this, but we're going to update some things. And so that's another, result that you may get, and or you're going to get a result that says verified, right? And when it says when you get the results back and it says verified, that means they took in account your disputes, but we're going to verify the information that we have is correct. Now, if you know the
Mhm.
laws, you'll know why they're verifying it, why they're updating it, and why they're deleting it. So at the end of the day, and again, if you don't have that information, then you're starting off just kind of like
Mhm.
where you're not setting yourself up for a position to win. And that's really what this is all about. Setting yourself up where you have all the information, just like in anything in life. You want to get all the data. Just like businesses are started, that's how you have to look at your life. Let me get all the information. Let me get all the data. Now let me investigate. You turn into the investigative reporter that is investigating your situation. And what better person to investigate to know exactly what companies are saying about you? Because really, what is a credit report anyway? It's you accessing the information about you.
Mm.
Unfortunately, these companies have set it up to where you have to pay for it, unless you take advantage of your free annual credit report. That by law you have to get every year. But again, if you don't have that information, you're not even going to get the free report. You know,
Mhm.
but it's ultimately accessing that information so you can really know how to move forward in terms of the dispute process. Because you'll be surprised what you can dispute. You can dispute collections. You can dispute charge-offs. You can dispute bankruptcies. You can dispute child support. I mean, like, that's a lot of negative items that can potentially be holding you back. And so if you're able to know how to dispute those by law, and you got to look at each individual item specifically on, it's not really if you owe that debt. It's more of like, did they legally report that accurately? And and give the most accurate version of what really happened. So, for instance, if there's Experian reporting something on a specific trade line, and you have Equifax reporting something different on the same trade line, how are both of those right? How are both of those companies
Mm.
reporting accurate information, right? And so that's why monitoring services are important, because you have all three. Well, most monitoring services, they give you all three of those credit bureaus. We call those the big three, right? And so you want to know what those big three are saying about you, and about and how they're reporting to other companies that they can access that information when they're going to approve you for a loan or approve you for a job or approve you for insurance. You'd be surprised on nowadays what they're, looking at credit for. Literally, those three things alone are very essential
Mm.
things that we need in our life to be successful. And as far as having them at the best version of us on paper, and if you're being misrepresented on paper to these companies that literally have the key to unlock your livelihood, a house for your family, insurance for yourself and your family, um, you know, a job for your family, so you can support your family, or even be an entrepreneur. If you're going to buy a house, they're going to look at it. They're going to either use that to either say you're approved or you're denied, right? And so,
Mhm.
so you want to set yourself up to win at the end of the day.
Well said. Well said. I've I've come across this before, and piggyback off this if you see the same thing. When people are seeing you for the first time or just seeing about credit repair services for the first time, they're like, well, that's all fine and good, right? What you're saying is great, but how much is this going to cost me, right? I think it really boils down as like a decision factor. How much does this cost? I don't want, because they don't see the value in this service, right? And one thing I think where our businesses kind of are in the same place is that we do, that's what the consultation's for, right? Because it's hard for us to give you a number because we don't know what your situation is. And I think it's all different on a case by case basis, depending on how much help you're going to need, right? So I think a big part of why we do these videos is that so you can see us, first of all, see how we are, and understand like we're people just like you are, and you know, we just allow us the opportunity to at least hear you out, to see where we can bring value to you, and that way we can, because I think another way to look at it is, let's say, stay in the perspective of buying a home, right? If you have the better credit score you have, the better terms you can get for your loan, for a home loan, which ultimately, if we're thinking about 30 years from now, how much money you'll be saving in that interest alone, right? We're talking about probably tens of thousands of dollars compared to the hundreds, maybe thousands of dollars you might pay for getting your credit repair fixed. Now, I know in the short term that doesn't sound good to you because you're paying a little bit now, but in the long term, that's where you gain the most value. I think we have to keep saying that because that's where the true value is in the long term here, because this is ultimately fixing your credit to get a home.
Absolutely, the long term play. I believe we talked about that last segment or the last week. The long term play is, really the vision, what you're doing on an everyday basis to get there. And so the short term play, if you can set up correctly, will lead to the long term. But having the long term play mindset is important. It's the difference of flipping a house versus buying a house and holding it. Um, if the long term play is, I'm going to buy that house and I'm going to figure out a way to turn this house into an asset, meaning I'm going to figure out a way to turn it into a business. Really, if you look at a house, it's shaped like a box, right? And so, you want a house to essentially be a business in a box, right? So whether it's you throw a long-term renter in it, you buy a house, an investment property, or the house that you live in, and you want to upgrade to a bigger house, and you turn the house that you're living into an investment property, right? So now that's the long-term play mentality, right?
Hmm.
Short-term play mentality is, I'm going to buy this house, I'm going to flip it, and then when I flip it, I'm going to, have fun with it. Not even the younger generation. If you don't come from and you don't have the right mindset, and maybe, you know, um, you didn't get the right mentorship as far as how money works, right? And it becomes a quick play versus a long term play. And so understanding that you can still flip houses, but then it's like, oh man, my mindset is I might flip this house and maybe make a $50,000 profit, but how can I use that 50,000 and maybe flip another house and then take that and then do another house and flip another house and then all of a sudden you got a small portfolio of rinse, wash, and repeat, or maybe using the Burr method, and then all of a sudden now you have a portfolio that you have an asset that you can leverage for more assets. So that whole mindset right there is long term play, but you're in the short term time, if that makes sense. And I feel like that's, again, it comes down to the person and what they're trying to accomplish, and that's what we try to help our clients. And you know, once you learn how what you want and how to get it, the sky's the limit. Now let's put the plan in action and let's have fun while we're doing it. Because it's really it's a game. I look at credit as a credit game. Learn the rules of engagement, learn how the game's played, and play it to your best of your ability. I learned that through being a professional athlete, the work ethic that it takes in business. And I know, Omar, you learn from being in the military that, what you do on a day-to-day basis and how you take and being accountable for what you want and the work that it takes to get it. You got to grind. You got to put that time in and love doing it and love every bit about working.
Hmm.
Work hard at something, you do it long enough, you're able to really open up opportunities that maybe you didn't see you had, and maybe you don't have the best plan, but you're the hardest worker. You're the person that shows up every day, the first one there, the last one to leave. You're a sponge. Well, that's a great starting spot to start from, and because those are the type of people that they're going to go, and they may be going in the wrong direction, but they're working and they have a vision of what they want to do. But that work ethic and that drive attracts people and attracts other hard workers and that other hard workers that are trying to do the same thing. And then that's where that electricity that comes and draws people together. And just work ethic alone can get you a long way, but you just have to know what you're working for. And the more clear and concise you can be about that, the more that you're able to really see that you're gaining traction and you're feeling yourself move in that positive direction of what you want. And I feel like that's the key. And if you can do that, a lot of opportunities going to open up.
Mm, gotcha. Okay, so as far as any other, were there any other tactics that may have come to mind? Uh, One thing, not so much if you're doing it yourself, but I know we've talked about if you are in the process of looking at a credit repair service to avoid any upfront high cost, payments initially, right?
Yes, that's a big one. So when it comes to upfront payments for credit repair, you're not supposed to do that. It's just compliance wise. So that's a red flag. An audit fee, if they're offering, an opportunity to get a free consultation, because you want to see if there's a fit in any business decision. There's got to be a fit, or even selecting a college or a school that you're going to attend. You want to be able to do your research and see if there's a fit of what you want. And typically the outcome for most of our clients is, I just want to fix my credit for a house. Most of our clients are looking to purchase a house, or they may come from they may be a referral from a car dealership, so they might be wanting to purchase a car. But mostly, we've aligned ourselves with people like yourself, Omar, in the real estate and the mortgage side of things, and in the private money sector, right? So, when you're in those fields, you want to be able to, like, understand where we're at. I mean, like, I have to understand where the client is, and then we just kind of bring the help to help them accomplish their goals.
Gotcha. You mentioned a bunch of fees. Are there any names of fees that people should look out for when they're getting like a proposal of some kind?
Well, yes. The biggest fee is just like a fee that you don't even know what it's for, other than the credit repair. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm.
so it's like, if you got to wonder, like, is it just for, because I mentioned an audit fee, right? So an audit fee is an audit fee. So you're looking at the credit and they're charging for that service. A processing fee, you're processing, that's their service. So, and then you got to look at the amounts. So it's the fee, and then what's that associated to, and then do you see value in it? So if it's an audit fee and it's $200, okay, versus an audit fee that's $5,000, that may be a red flag. For me, that would be a red flag, right? Because for me, I want to I want to see, if I'm a client, I want to know that if I'm paying $200, there's an outcome of some results. And so for our program, the $200 audit fee, you don't pay unless you get deleted items off of your credit report, right? So then that's how it's supposed to work, because we're results driven. We don't get paid unless we get you results. And most of our clients, they want results. They want to be excited about paying that $200 because they're like, well, we don't have to pay a dime more unless we get deletions or we get an outcome that's favorable for us. And so that's result driven is definitely I feel like in any business, especially credit repair, holding the company accountable for getting results, holding the company accountable for understanding what your situation is and helping you with a viable plan to work through it. That should be the main objective as it pertains to a fee, a particular fee that you're paying, because there's got to be some kind of way where you can see value and what you're paying. Value isn't really so much the cost, it's what you get. And if you can gain results from the cost and you feel as though the value is there, that should make the true determining factor if it's a good fit for you.
Mm, I love that you said result driven, because that's what you want to hear from someone that's in business and credit repair, right? Because it's very easy to give money and not see anything, and you're like, and then you just feel cheated, right? But from what you said, you don't continue to get payments or ask for more until the client sees at least something from the money that they paid from the audit fee, or what have you, when they're beginning the beginning of this.
Absolutely. It's all about results. That's it. Hey, I mean, it'd be nice to say, hey, I tried all the time. Tommy Lasorda used to always tell us with the Dodgers. He'd say, we'll be like, hey, we tried to hit a home run. We tried to get a hit. And he would always tell us, a truck driver can try. I want you to do it. I want you to get the job done, and that's always stuck with me and resonated with me. And it's true. You can try, but, life's about getting results. And at Credit Pulse, we're focused on results. We're focused on helping the client. We're focused on community. We're focused on education. We're focused on quality. Giving a quality product out there that clients are happy with the money that they do spend. Because let's be honest, if a client spends $1 on anything, they have an expectation of getting some type of result from that dollar that they spend. And so we have an obligation to provide that product and then provide a service that they're proud to even spend $1 on. And so
Mm,
we have to be results driven to be able to have to be able to manage that expectation in our clients. And that's why we set up, a results driven company. Because if not, what are we doing? This isn't a situation where we're just all about the money without getting results for our clients. And we wouldn't be in business if that was the case. If we weren't able to get results, I wouldn't even do credit repair. I would shut the company down, and I would focus on something that I can get results on and that I can help people with.
mm, mm. Well said. Well said. Okay, so that's the end of that question. All right, so we're at kind of 40 minutes here, so that's kind of, we're gonna wind this stuff down. Let's see. So this could be a little bit of a free for all. Was there anything that you want to speak on from the past couple days that you wouldn't mind sharing with the audience?
So I mean, like, there's been a lot packaged in the last couple of days, but I guess to kind of summarize it, there's some initiatives that we're working on to bring clean energy to the world, and it's coming from venture capitalist funds, and funds are very interesting in how they're set up. If you could set a fund up and you have an initiative, you'd be surprised on how you can tap into money like inclusion money, for instance, with the unfortunate incident with George Floyd, and what happened with him, with police brutality. And luckily, from that unfortunate situation, companies are obligated to have inclusion money for minorities. Okay. And I didn't know about this until I started talking to the corporate execs saying, hey, we have this money that's it's put aside to help minorities, with their businesses With some of the social injustices that have happened, that's the business's way of saying, hey, we want to be able to show you that we support minorities and we want to help you. And having that backing is huge because like some of these companies, like Home Depot, Lowe's, Walmart, there's American Express. There's so many companies out there that they do understand that there is a need for community involvement. And until you ask, they're probably not going to market this, what I'm telling everybody right now. So you have to kind of go out and talk to, corporate of any company and ask them, do they have inclusion money set aside to help the community? And I would just keep it that simple. And either they're going to
Mm,
say yes or no. But if they say no, then, just ask yourself, why don't you? Do you support this initiative? And the more that you ask questions like that, you'll be surprised on the resources that are out there. And it takes a little bit of like we talked about, some work that goes into making some phone calls and or like talking to your local bank. I was at Wells Fargo the other day. I bank at Wells Fargo, one of the banks from one of my companies, and I asked him, hey, do you have, inclusion money? And he said, yeah, no problem. He went to his desk. He wrote the website that's a little different than Wells Fargo, but it's their company website that's specifically for that fund. And that fund is specifically designed to help the community. So definitely, I would say that, I mean, that's something that anybody can do. And it's just asking the right questions. And that's a simple question that you can ask, and you should be able to get a result and an answer.
wow, wow, that's news to me. That's good to know. That's good to know. That's like a golden nugget right there. If you stay to the very end, that's a lot of value right there. Okay, I think we're coming to an end. Thank you, Tamari, for coming on. And we again, folks, we're gonna be here, so we're gonna show up, and we hope you show up. Show up for yourself.